Hi guys, Josh Lloyd here for your NBA DraftKings first look for Monday. Only the 6 games on. Let's talk about them now. And the first one of those games is the Chicago Bulls and the Houston Rockets. No spread out at this stage for this game. No total, obviously, either. We know Larry Markin and Otto Porter are out. DeMarcus Cousins is the big question mark for Houston. He is questionable. We know the talk of him getting traded or released, but they said he will continue to play, and now a mysterious injury has cropped up. If he is out at center, do they just start Tucker there? Do they put newly signed Justin Patton into the lineup? I would doubt that one, but that is an option. I don't even think Justin Patton is an option on DraftKings. Let's double check that before I make outlandish claims. No, you can't even use Justin Patton. So if he is the option starting center, he's not even a guy that you can utilize. So that's not worth talking about too much there. Let's have a look at the values. I like Wendell Carter Jr., 5,300. I thought he's been pretty good since returning from his injury. He dropped 24 fantasy points last game. He had 21, 28, 24. Like, they're okay numbers. Like, he can be better than this as well, and I think this is a good opportunity for him. John Wall at 8,000. You feel good about him getting 40 points plus with Oladipo out especially. That looks good to me. And Levine at 9,500. Well, he is just good for 50 every night, it appears. He's averaging 53 over his last 3 games, over 50 in the last 5 games. I don't really expect Houston to give him too many problems either. I think he'll be putting up some pretty big numbers here. Cousins is at 64. It is a real tough one to use him with how Silas has rotated the minutes through with him and how he's struggled at times. The only big minute game he really had recently was against Embiid in the Sixers, and I'm not sure that Wendell Carter Jr. poses the same problems. So I wouldn't be all that keen on Cousins personally. Thad Young's at 58. That's an okay cash option to me. While Jayshawn Tate at 5,900. We love what Tate is doing. He's producing really good numbers. He had 38 points last game, but I'm not sure 5,800 is the right salary for Jayshawn Tate. I just think we can get more value out of spending 5,800 than spending it on the Wild Thing himself. Next game is the Memphis Grizzlies. They're taking on the Dallas Mavericks. Feels like forever since we've seen Dallas play. The Grizzlies rested a whole bunch of players over the weekend. Everyone is back for the Grizzlies apart from Jaren Jackson. Ja Morant's at 7,500. He's been up and down to say the least, but he is averaging 39 points over the last 5 games, so I think that makes him worthwhile at that price. The 7,200 for Valanciunas I'm not massively keen on, nor am I with the 8,500 for Kristaps Porzingis, though I don't hate that Porzingis one. I'm just not fully into it. Doncic at 11.4 is obviously very, very expensive. Now, Doncic, we know that he's good. He's averaging 73 over the last 2 games that he's played. He hasn't played that much recently. 66, 80, 65. Like, they're big numbers. 11,000 is a big price, but I do think he is worth it at that salary. Not much else that I really love here. The Grizzlies wing rotation with... Dylan Brooks is out, actually. I should have mentioned that. Melton, Bane, Grayson Allen, and now Justice Winslow in the mix, who had 19 DraftKings points in his first game. It is really hard to work out how all that's going to go. Now, at 3,600, maybe you take a flyer on Winslow, who had 19 points in his season debut, but again, that was without a bunch of guys playing. Bane at 39, I just find it hard to get the minutes there, and 5,000 for Melton feels too high for me. 6,600 for Kyle Anderson also feels like it's priced a little bit too high up for my liking. Let's go on to the next one. We're looking at the Portland Trailblazers. They're taking on the Phoenix Suns. First game we've got a spread for. The Suns are 6.5 point favorites here in this one, and the total's 229. DeAndre Ayton is at 6,900. Good for him. Has he been playing like that guy? Not really. Averaging just 28 points over the last 5 games. I am not super into this one from Ayton. Chris Paul, a guy that's been absolutely rolling at the moment, he's at 7,800. I don't mind that. It feels marginally on the high side, and I probably would fade it. But we have to remember with these Suns games that their last game was an absolute blowout, so their recent averages are on the downside. McCall Bridges, he had a good game in that one, actually. He had 34 points. He's at 5,900. I'm not keen on that. Booker at 82 is all right, but I'm not sure he's got absolute massive tournament upside. On the Blazers side of things, Harry Giles has been ruled out for them, so that means more Covington at center minutes. He's at 6,500, Bob Cov. I'm not sure at that salary he's one to go with. He feels more of a 59, 5,800 player. Gary Trent at 6,000, also probably a little bit on the high side there, while Lillard at 10.9 looks good. I feel like Lillard's going to get you 52, 53 pretty easily. In fact, he's averaging over 60 points in his last 5 games. So he is a good way to spend that amount of money. The next game we look at, the Charlotte Hornets. They take on the Utah Jazz. We know Utah finally lost against the Clippers last game. We don't know whether, actually we do know, he's not playing. Devontae Graham, I think he's doubtful for this game, so we're going to get more of those lineups with Ball and Rozier starting, and that helps guys like Bridges and Washington. Mike Conley, second game back from a hamstring injury. He may be limited again, so that's probably why I wouldn't want to use him. Rudy Gobert, though, at 7,400 looks pretty good. And Bojan Bogdanovic at 53. Only a GPP guy, Bogdanovic. You cannot trust him on a game-by-game basis. Gordon Hayward up against his former team, 7,100 here for Gordo. I sort of like it. I'm not 100% sold. I sort of like it. And I think Don Mitchell at 87 is too high. With Conley back, his ball handling responsibilities do drop somewhat, and that is not good for his value. 8,600 for LaMelo Ball, probably also a little bit on the high side. Paul Washington Jr. is at 54. I don't mind that. I'd fade Clarkson. And then Rozier is all the way up at 8,100. There's a very good reason for that, because he's kicking ass at the moment. Look at that. 54-point average over his last 3 games. Just astonishing numbers. Now, he's shooting at an unbelievable clip. 60%, 73% from 3, hitting big numbers. He's got steal numbers and block numbers in there as well. He's been so impressive. 8,100 is a lot for Rozier. I think he's more of maybe a 38, 39, 40 player rather than a 50 player. I probably would be cautious in deploying him. The Jazz here also are 12.5-point favorites, and the total is 228. So real massive blowout energy in this game. Or potentially in this game, I should say. The Miami Heat and the Oklahoma City Thunder, that's who we'll look at next. This is a back-to-back for the Thunder, so we're assuming that Al Horford will be resting, and that will mean we'll get Isaiah Roby starting. Roby's at 4,900, and that looks pretty bloody good to me. Kelly Olynyk at 45, no thank you. Gilgeous-Alexander at 84. Yeah, Shea's been okay. Has he been worth 84? Well, he hasn't been recently, averaging under 40 in the last 3. I still think he's worth looking at here, and Baisley's always just a flyer-type player. You've got Bam Adebayo at 88. I think he's going to absolutely feast here, so this is a great opportunity to use Bam Adebayo. And Kendrick Nunn gets another chance with Goran Dragic out, Avery Bradley out. He's going to get 30-plus minutes. He had 46 DraftKings points last game, which is awesome, but that's not an expectation, but 30 is fine. I think Nunn is a pretty good option here for us, while Tyler Hero is questionable with that hip injury that cost him last game, and Butler's up to 9,200 because he's putting up absolutely huge numbers. Jimmy Butler, again, I don't mind that one from Jim as well. The last game of the night, it is the Washington Wizards and the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers are 6.5-point favorites here. Of course, they'll do it without Anthony Davis and without Dennis Schroeder, who's out with the health and safety protocols. That means more usage goes to guys like Montrezl Harrell, even though his minutes are coming down. I am interested in what Talen Horton-Tucker's going to do. He does get more ball handling opportunities without Schroeder. He hasn't really taken full advantage of it, but I like him as at least a GPP guy. LeBron's at 10,400. He's been a little bit down, but I still like him there. Gasol at 42, not for me, and Harrell at 58 is only a flyer, because the fact that he's getting 24 minutes instead of 26, 27 minutes is a worry. Now, his usage has been sky high in those minutes, but I'm still not 100% convinced. Kyle Kuzma's at 67, just a GPP guy to me, while Beal at 99 looks relatively strong. I think we can almost pencil him in for 50. As for the Wizards center, your guess is as good as mine. There's no way of being able to predict what Scott Brooks is going to do. I also like the 10,100 for Russell Westbrook, who's shooting a bit better of late and averaging 53 DraftKings points over his last 5 games. Bertans is hit and miss. He's at 5,400. I don't really have much interest in using Davis Bertans at this stage. Guys, that'll do it for me today. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Hit the thumbs up down below. Hit the notification bell. And you can find my channel in the title and in the description, Josh Lloyd Fantasy Basketball. Go check me out over there, guys. We are done here. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. See ya.